But going back to your question, I'm trying to do understory control. I'm trying to keep my canopies in check, and I'm trying to put some food plots in as well on these old sets
Mm-hmm.
that we conducted back in that last thinning. So
And where it opens up, like right here behind us, you're starting to get some natural regen
yes, we're
in.
getting some natural regeneration from this, and we had a little bit of this over here on my food plot, which I left, but a lot of this I tried to just the vines that were growing up, the berry vines, I just tried to take those out and put in some Elbon rye and wheat and oats, and I topped it off with some ryegrass. So hopefully the deer and the wildlife are taking advantage of that.
I've already seen tracks this morning.
Okay, good.
Well, now the natural regeneration you have out here that has popped up in just really in just a few places, because this is fairly dense stand. Do you intend to leave that, or at some point, how do you intend to continue to manage
No,
this
sir.
tract?
Again, these are native loblollies,
Yeah.
and my management that I'm on now, I'm trying to put in a better genetic tree, and I have been using the advanced loblolly pine. So ultimately, we will. Yeah, I guess you could say, in essence, this is kind of a weed in my garden because, again, I'm going to take advantage of these and manage these until they are ready to come out. But ultimately, this will be all replaced with a advanced loblolly pine.
Okay. Okay. Well, one other question that I have, you talk about your efforts to control the underbrush and the weeds in this
Mm-hmm.
area. And I understand from reading your nomination form that you do most of your own work. How do you do your herbicide or your chemical brush control?
Yes, sir. I do that. I've got a little 23 horse diesel, which really works great in getting in and out of the trees here. I've got a 55-gallon little sprayer, 3-point hookup that fits in the back of my trailer with a little pump that goes in my PTO, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a real compact little rig, and I just basically use Arsenal on my understory. A lot of this Yopon and privet, I'm having to put a little Garlon in because the Arsenal just kind of slides right off the Yopon, but I'm mixing in a little Garlon with it to handle the Yopon, but the gums, the sweet gum, and the maple, and again, I'm trying to leave some of my maples in my wildlife areas, aesthetic areas, but out here in my main production areas, I'm trying to get rid of my sweet gums and all my other understory. But I pretty well, like I said, it'd be kind of comical. I just get out here watching. I wear a motorcycle helmet because a lot of the times with the brush,
Mm.
it just it comes and hits you in the face, and with the shield on, it's pretty protective. So you have to wear protective kind of gear for it, but you just take off in it. And again, I've calibrated. I had some assistance from a chemical company on telling me how to calibrate my sprayer initially, and so once it's calibrated with the particular products I'm using, it's worked out pretty well. I'm just trying to knock this off in 30-acre increments. I'm just trying to
Okay.
focus on 30 acres here, and then once I feel comfortable with it, move over to another 30-acre block. But again, I just don't have a handle on all of this yet. You know, I've had some folks say, Bob, why don't you buy more acreage and try to, get bigger. I said, well, I don't feel like I've got a handle on what I'm doing right now. As far as totally, I got to get a full handle on this 450 acres I'm farming now,
Yeah.
and then I might consider moving on. But
Well, one last question before we move to another site. I
mhm.
wanted to ask you, I asked you earlier, but we didn't have it on record. You've done some studies to find out what your form class is generally in here on this native stand, and what did you find?
On this again
I'm
with
sorry, I apologize. I said form class and I meant site index.
78 to 80 is on this particular, and again, I've had some assistance with my consultant that I use.
Mm-hmm.
It's very helpful, and through the last thinning on the native, I think again we discussed that, and that pretty well is kind of where we're standing with this, between right at 78 and 80
Okay, well
on the
it's a
site index.
fine looking tract of timber, a
Well,
lot of
thank
good
you,
straight timber in
thank
here.
you.
Okay, well why don't we go to another
Okay,
location?
very good.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Bob. Okay. Well, Bob, once more, we're at a different location on your property, and we're at a very interesting spot here because we're right at a transition line between a fairly old plantation and your native loblolly stand. Why don't you tell us what you've got going on here, and then if you would, kind of share with us some of the benefits that you've enjoyed as a tree farmer.
Sure. Again, with this native stand, or this, excuse me, the plantation here, the slash plantation, this was a plantation my dad implemented in 1975. And, you know, at that time, I don't really think that he had a pretty good handle on what he was doing as far as what he got started, because that was our very first plantation that he actuated on the total acreage at that time. Then we're over here working on the native stand, and like I said, we got native loblolly here, we've got improved slash here, and you know, I was telling, I think during the Teacher Conservation Institute tour this last summer, that this is all really kind of good to diversify. I'm trying to, if you will, not keep all my eggs in the one basket theory. I'm trying to, again, my dad got this started here, which is a slash, and again, we had some problems with the slash in the beginning with the fusiform rust, and we kind of outgrown that. But with the loblolly here that we're working on, then we're putting in advanced loblolly, and then I've got a track here that hopefully I can put in, excuse me, containerized longleaf, improved longleaf, next year hopefully. So it's just something that I feel pretty comfortable with as far as diversifying, and as far as the benefits, it's hard to put in words. You know, you say, well, the tree farming aspect of it and the benefits you get from it, I feel like it's a blessing every day I'm out here. I don't consider it work. I consider I'm getting to utilize a resource that was basically given to me. And it's a joy to come out here. I've had folks say, wow, it's Monday, I've got to go back to work. I said, you know, every day's a Monday for me. I said, it's great. I said, I have a hard time basically sleeping at night because I'm ready to get up and go out the next morning. I mean, I used to not say that when I was in industry, and I really feel that it was a true blessing that I got to come down here, help Dad, and for a brief while, and prior to his illness, and then helping Mom, and then just the transition into the tree farming was, I think, a well laid out plan, and I really feel very fortunate to get to do what I truly want to do, and I feel like I've known this for quite some time now, that this is really where I need to be and what I need to be doing.
Let me ask you, let me interrupt just a second to ask a question. Earlier when you and I were visiting, you mentioned that your dad kept saying, well, son, you can't make a living on this place. Has it been